Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Kraft, and this is my second video in my series on my Jesus experiences. This experience happened in May of 2014, and I wrote about it. So luckily, because there are a lot of details in here that I probably would have forgotten. But I'm going to go ahead and read this about my dream and probably add some extra commentary. Okay, so what I wrote the other night, this was back in 2014 that I wrote this, I had a profound dream. I was in a drugstore talking to Prince, the singer. He was going to have a concert that night, and I was going. After some brief chit-chat, I asked him if I could give him a hug. He agreed, so we hugged. This man that was hugging me was not actually Prince, the singer. Prince is a tiny man, or he was, of course, he's passed away. But this man who was embracing me was huge and tall with broad shoulders. So I initially was talking to Prince in the store is called CVS. It's an American store, drugstore, convenience store. And I was actually buying props for him for his show that night, and I was going to be going to the concert. So anyway, once he started hugging me, it became this huge man. I nestled my head in his shoulder and said into his ear, "Thank you for writing The Arms of Orion." There was a strong feeling of love and comfort in his hug. When I woke up from the dream, as I was being hugged, I could actually feel the physical hug on my body energetically with the actual pressure of the hug as if it were real. And it was real. It felt real. Later that morning, I was driving to work and chuckled out loud, remembering my dream with Prince. My 8-year-old son, who was sitting in the back seat, said, "What's so funny, Mom?" And I started telling him about my dream. When I got to the part about the hug, it hit me then that the man who had hugged me in my dream was actually Jesus. When this realization came over me, I started to cry. I remembered the love that encompassed and penetrated me in that embrace, and it was so overwhelming. I could no longer speak as I was flooded with that feeling again. And just then, in that moment, I saw that the license plate in front of me said J and C. It was confirmation, as if I needed any. I told my son that I was crying because of love. A few minutes later, I arrived at my office, and I was thinking about how Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace. And I was thinking about this, I reached into my purse, which was my habit, because I had an essential oil in there that I used every day. When I got to my office, I would go into my purse, pull it out, and put a little bit on my hands or wrists. And I wasn't even thinking about what the name of it is. And I pulled this little bottle out and looked at it, and it was called Peace. This was just as I was thinking, that Jesus is known as the Prince of Peace. That was another confirmation just in case, but I really didn't need it because the knowing was so powerful. The Arms of Orion is a song written by Sheena Easton and performed with Prince from the 1989 Batman soundtrack. It's a love song, and it could even be thought of as a song about Jesus, as well as the constellation of Orion. And there's a connection. And actually, I looked it up back then and wrote this. Orion in the Bible Job 38:31. Can you bind the sweet influences of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion? Amos 5:8. Seek him that makes the seven stars and Orion. So it was just interesting that all of these pieces came together. Prince, and then he hugged me and he became Jesus and flooded me with that love. And I hadn't realized who it was until I was driving, and it overwhelmed me. And then I saw the J and C for Jesus Christ in front of me. And then I got to my office thinking about how interesting that Jesus was named the Prince of Peace. And right as I thought that, I pulled out my essential oil called Peace. And I used to love that song, The Arms of Orion. You should look it up if you can. It's hard to find because Prince protects his copyright so much. But again, it's from the Batman soundtrack from 1989, and he sings it with Sheena Easton. It's so beautiful. You can buy it as a single on, what's it called? iTunes, or, I don't know if it's sold anywhere else, but it's just so beautiful. So hopefully you enjoyed this dream I had with Jesus. It was more profound than I'm expressing, because it's a little bit different when you're reading a dream from like 6 years ago, but the feeling was so overwhelming and so loving. And actually, as I remembered that and was writing this out, it brought me to tears so many times because the power of that love is so overwhelming. Yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to say about this one. I may not have a part 3, but I just can't remember off the top of my head if I've had more experiences. And I know I've written them down, so I'll take a look to see. But there's one more thing I might share here. I had written this out back then, and I had wondered, because I had had dreams with Prince several times, that in my dreams, he provided me with the most profoundly beautiful music that was original music that doesn't exist on earth, but it was played. He played these songs for me in my dreams, and those brought me some of the most loving feelings I've ever experienced in dreams with music, the most beautiful music. And I had a reading with a lady who channels angels, and I asked this question, and I said, how is Prince connected to my soul? And they said, and by the way, this has nothing that I know of to do with Jesus, but it's a separate topic with just Prince. They said to me, the angels replied and said, he's connected to your soul in a very creative way, beloved. You have worked with this soul in other expressions, other dimensions, as you might call it, in the creation of structures, what you might call poetry of form, poetry of light, poetry of sound. So for him to come and be a musician, to be a creator being, as you are a creator being, it is in that you, in more etheric expressions, join together in doing things. And so in your prayers, he came as well. And yet to show you that you are loved by your soul group, for which he was a representative, and by Jesus, which is, you could say, the solar logos, you could say, the prince and the king of this constellation, this solar system and beyond, of which you are a part. The great blessing of the remembrance of love. So many connections for you in this dream, beloved, that felt so profound. Many remembrances. You are not alone, beloved. They want you to know you are never alone. And then I asked this question, is Prince in my soul group? And the angels said, yes. All right, so that's my little connection there. Hope you've enjoyed the story, and I hope you're doing well. My website is stephaniecraft.com if you'd like to know more about me. And I'll see you again soon in another video. Bye-bye.